Welcome to Curious Brain Theory, a chilling breakdown of everything from surface-level jump scares to theories that rewrite the entire timeline. If you thought you knew Five Nights at Freddy, think again. Let's begin at the surface. At the top of the iceberg are the basics. The infamous bite of 87 was one of the first lore bombs dropped, hinting at something far darker beneath the surface. The following line of dialogue from the first game's phone guy launched a decade of theories. They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too. But then there was the bite of 87. Yeah, it's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe. That chilling quote sparked one of Five Nights at Freddy's earliest and biggest mysteries. Who did it? Who got bitten? And which animatronic was responsible? At first, many fans believed Foxy was the culprit because of his sharp teeth, wild behavior, and being out of order in Pirate Cove. His jump scare is fast and feral, unlike the others. But later games introduced new suspects. Toy Chica, for her removable beak. Mangle, the disfigured animatronic from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, who attacks from above, suggesting a head bite. Even Freddy, due to his central role in the band. Some theorists pointed at Jeremy Fitzgerald, the night guard in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, as the victim, especially since he's mentioned being moved to the day shift right before a biting incident. But here's the twist. Later games introduced the Bite of 83, shown in Five Nights at Freddy's 4's final minigame, where the crying child is bitten by Fredbear during a cruel birthday prank. This created massive confusion in the community. Two bites? Which one was the bite? Which animatronic was responsible for each? The current consensus is that the Bite of 83 was the childhood tragedy involving Fredbear. The Bite of 87, on the other hand, happened later, likely during the daytime at Freddy's 2 location, and might have involved Mangle. Regardless of who caused it, the Bite of 87 cemented Five Nights at Freddy's reputation for deeper horror. It wasn't just haunted robots anymore. It was traumatic, violent, and disturbingly human. As we move just below the surface, things start to get strange. And Five Nights at Freddy's stops being just a horror game and starts becoming a massive puzzle. Let's start with one of the most debated moments in the series. The Bite of 83 versus the Bite of 87. Both bites involve a child's frontal lobe being severely damaged, maybe even removed. But they happened at different times, with different victims. In Five Nights at Freddy's 4, we witness the Bite of 83 firsthand. A crying child is lifted toward Fredbear's mouth by older bullies, and the animatronic's jaw clamps shut. But the Bite of 87, referenced in the first game, remains unseen, still a mystery. It's believed to have occurred during daytime hours, and the victim might have survived, albeit with brain damage. This led to a community-wide debate over who caused which bite, and whether they're connected. Next, we get into the missing children incident. This is where the real horror begins. Hidden newspaper clippings in Five Nights at Freddy's, one mention 5 children who went missing at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. They were lured into a back room by a man dressed in a mascot suit, and were never seen again. Soon after, parents began noticing blood and mucus leaking from the animatronics' mouths and reported that the suits smelled foul. The game never says it outright, but it heavily implies that the children were murdered and stuffed into the animatronic suits, their spirits now possessing them. Now, for a brief intermission. This is the first Iceberg video in a series of Iceberg videos I will be making. If you are enjoying it, please like and subscribe. Now, back to your regular scheduled programming. By now, you're past the point of no return. This is where Five Nights at Freddy's stops being a horror game and becomes a tangled web of death, family tragedy, and science fiction. Let's start with Sister Location, a game that flips everything on its head. You don't sit in a chair and check cameras anymore. You crawl through vents, enter maintenance rooms, and interact with a cast of high-tech animatronics built by Afton Robotics. This isn't a restaurant, it's an underground facility beneath one. Here, we meet Circus Baby, an animatronic with a soft voice, glowing eyes, and a deadly secret. We later learn that Baby killed Elizabeth Afton, William's daughter, when she got too close during a private performance. Her soul became trapped inside the machine, just like the missing children. The shocking part? William Afton built Baby. He designed her to capture children. This reveals something crucial. The murders weren't accidents. They were planned. Afton was obsessed with immortality, remnant, and harvesting souls. And he used his own children as test subjects. Then there's Michael Afton, the player character in multiple games. In Sister Location, he descends into the facility, possibly trying to free his sister. But he's tricked by Enard, a twisted animatronic made of spare parts from Baby, Ballora, and others. Enard uses Michael's body as a disguise to escape the facility, leaving him to rot. But he doesn't die. Let's talk about the puppet, also known as Marionette. Introduced in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the puppet is crucial to the lore. In minigames, we learn it's possessed by Charlotte Emily, the daughter of Henry, William Afton's former business partner. Charlotte was the first child killed by Afton outside a restaurant, and her soul was the first to possess a machine. The puppet doesn't just haunt, it gives life. It's the reason the other murdered children could attach to the animatronics. In a way, it's the mother of the haunted Freddy crew. At this depth, Five Nights at Freddy's becomes more than just haunted animatronics. It's a story about a broken family, a father chasing immortality, a son seeking redemption, a daughter trapped forever, and a chorus of dead children who just want peace. Welcome to the deep end. By now, we're not just dealing with haunted pizza places. We're dealing with eternal punishment, vengeful spirits, and the blurring of life and death. Let's start with one of the biggest lore twists, the dream theory. For a long time, fans believed that Five Nights at Freddy's 4 wasn't real. It was the dream of a dying child. The house layout mirrored the gameplay. The animatronics were twisted nightmares, and the phrase, "I will put you back together," seemed like the parents' final words. But later games, merch, and timelines started breaking that theory apart. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is viewed more as a trauma simulation, a nightmarish reflection of childhood abuse and fear. Another mystery from Ultimate Custom Night, the one you should not have killed. Throughout the game, cryptic voice lines and clues suggest that one specific spirit is tormenting Afton in his own personal hell. Some say it's Cassidy, a child killed by Afton whose soul possesses Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy, after all, doesn't move. It just appears and crashes your game. It's vengeance incarnate. This leads to a theory that Ultimate Custom Night is actually William Afton's purgatory, where he relives endless nights being killed by the souls of the children he murdered. He can't win, he can't escape, he can't die. And then there's the remnant, the metallic soul-binding substance at the heart of Afton's experiments. It's never fully explained, but it's clear Afton discovered that certain emotions, especially agony and fear, can cling to objects. He used this knowledge to make animatronics live forever. But in doing so, he doomed himself to be trapped in his own technology. Every time he tried to cheat death, he only pulled himself further from peace. We've passed the bottom of the lore, and we're falling into the abyss. Where theories are fragmented, answers are elusive, and FNaF feels less like a horror series, and more like a ghost trapped in the code. Let's talk about one of the most disturbing theories in Security Breach. Gregory is a robot. This theory suggests that Gregory, the boy you play as, isn't human, but a rebuilt version of the crying child. Clues. He's never seen eating. He doesn't have a parent. He doesn't appear in security cameras. And Freddy refers to him as a superstar, almost as if he remembers him. If true, it means someone, maybe Freddy, maybe someone else, rebuilt the crying child from memory. But for what purpose? Now, let's get really weird. The staff bots. In Security Breach, they're humanoid robots that roam the mall. They seem passive until you dig deeper. Some have glowing red eyes. Others appear in secret rooms, recreating scenes from the Afton household. One bot is slumped at a dinner table. Another is watching TV in a ruined bedroom. These aren't just decoration, they're simulations of memories, repeated endlessly. Some fans believe the mall itself is a simulation, a digital purgatory built to trap Afton. Thanks for joining me in this descent into the 5 Nights at Freddy's Iceberg. Let me know your favorite theory in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay tuned for future videos.